Hi ho, everyone, and welcome back to the adventures of Turwinkle, the Gnome Mage. Well, hi, Turwinkle.
Salutations.
Are you all set for today?
Sure.
Well, great, because today we're going to be talking to Oscare Gouge. And so, without further ado, let's go and find out all about this wonderful RPer and what he's all about, shall we? All right, folks. Well, here he is, the man of the hour, Oscare Is it Gage? Oscare Gage?
It's Oscare gauge, yes.
Okay, excellent. Captain Piddles McSoftpaws, tactician in the works, and we'll say smart aleck. Nickname Osk or Oz is a level 82 Worgen druid, and currently wearing a green rose in his hair. Why are you wearing a green rose in your hair, sir?
Well, as a druid, Oscar is naturally attracted to natural things like green roses, like roses and plants. But green roses is something that contributes a lot to this character's backstory
Oh,
because
okay.
it's kind of a family thing.
Alrighty, and where do you find green roses?
They're pretty much like normal roses except discolored. Uh, they're pretty much found where normal roses are found.
Oh, okay. I thought there might be like a special place like in Anderhall or the Eastern Plague Lands or something like that.
Oh wait, well, in game they're found in Gilneas and
Oh,
around those areas.
oh, okay. Alrighty. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a green rose in real life, so
They are pretty rare, as well as blue roses and those unique colors.
sure. Alrighty, folks. So when we get back, we'll start asking Oscar some questions about his tune. So we'll be right. And we're back with Oscar. Now, Oscar, the first question we always ask is how did you come up with the name Oscar Gage? Was it out of a movie, out of a book, or something you just made up on the fly? How did you come up with that name?
Well, it's something I came up on the fly. It's based on one of my actual characters, who is a werewolf, so I thought it would be appropriate for a Worgen.
Oh, okay. So do you play another game besides World of Warcraft? Do you RP in another game?
I am interested in RPing on Wildstar when it comes out.
Oh, sure. That looks like a fantastic game. Do you play like D&D, or what do you mean when you say you have another character that's a werewolf?
Oh, yeah, I do play Dungeons and Dragons, and my Dungeons and Dragons character is Oscare, but that's not a werewolf. It's one of my characters in stories I write, 'cause I write when I have the free time.
Oh, okay. So you like to write as well. Do you find that that helps you with your RP with Oscar and WoW?
A little bit, 'cause I mostly write skits about my characters interacting with other characters, so that helps me picture Oscar's personality.
Okay, excellent. Well, that's great. So you've taken something that you used in your writings and brought it into WoW to help make your character here. Then, correct?
That would be correct.
Excellent, excellent. So, Oscar, how did he become a Worgen?
Well, like most Worgen, he was one of the folks in Gilneas. He lived in a rural part of Gilneas, thus he doesn't have the usual British Gilneas accent. So, like usual, when Gilneas got attacked, he got attacked at the same time and got infected, and the curse kind of just spread to him.
Okay, and so do you prefer the Worgen form over the human form?
And I have my issues with the Worgen model, but yes, I do prefer being in the Worgen form. It kind of just depends on how my character feels like being in.
Oh, okay. So it just depends on where you're at in your RP then. Are you more comfortable RPing in Worgen form than you are in human form?
It pretty much just depends on the situation for me.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So we'll get more into Oscar's history when we come back. And we're back. So with Oscar, how did he find his way into Stormwind? What does he do currently?
Well, currently he's not doing anything. He's not employed, and he doesn't really have a job at all. So he kind of just wanders the street nowadays. He is interested in joining House Grouss for employment. Um, Oscar got into Stormwind because after the attack on Gilneas, Oscar ran away from home. So he decided to just leave Gilneas and escape south into the Stormwind in search of a better life.
Oh, okay. And so he's currently looking to join House Grouss then.
Yep.
Okay. And why has he chosen House Grouss to go to? Is it their storyline or the people that are in the guild?
It's a mix of both, cause the folks in House Grouss are very kind and warm and gentle and accepting, which is pretty much what I look in a guild, and their storyline is very interesting. I feel like it fits well with Oscar.
Oh, excellent. Yes, their guild leader, Silence, is wonderful. And in fact, most all the people within House Grouss are just a fantastic bunch. So good luck in joining with them because, again, they are a great guild to be a part of. So hopefully everything will work out and you're able to join them on their adventures. So Oscar is currently looking for work. What does he do? What is his profession? What does he do?
Well, Oscar is right now. He's been through a lot of trials because Oscar's not a developed character yet, so he's been trying several different things, but he keeps failing at everything he does. Like he tried psychology, that didn't work. He tried oh my gosh, what's the word I was looking for? Bone weaving, and that didn't work out well for him. He tried herbalism, but that didn't work out for him. So he's just kind of looking for what can he do.
Oh, okay. So he's kind of uh, a a jack of all trades, but a master of none. Is that right?
Pretty much.
Okay. All right, folks. Well, we'll come back and we'll talk some more about. All right, and we're back. So, how long have you been RPing in WoW?
In WoW-wise, since this character is fairly new, I've only been RPing for 4 or 5 months, because I am fairly new at this game, because I've only started in about May of this year? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't been RPing for very long.
So, how do you find the RP in WoW? Is it easy to pick up?
It is fairly easy after a few times. I mean, at first, I think it's pretty natural that everyone was nervous. Like, this is a new thing, probably. But after a while, it's pretty easy to do.
Sure. And so, what do you think the hardest thing for you to learn was RPing in WoW?
Definitely approaching new characters. Because, well, since it's kind of a me thing, but since I have anxiety issues, I have issues approaching new people, so.
Oh, okay. And that tends to be a general a thing for a lot of people. Going out and meeting new people sometimes is a very hard thing to do. But I think, like you said, the more that you do it, the easier it gets and the more fun you start having. So, folks, what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll talk a little more to Oscar about his RP. All right, so we're back. So, tell us, what does Captain Piddles McSoftpaws, how did you get that nickname?
That's something that happens off screen because that's part of one of my skits where Oscar has a sister named Grace, and they tend to make fun of each other a lot.
Okay.
Like she would come up with witty nicknames like Captain Piddles McSoftpaws, and he would come up with more offensive ones like Ironing Board.
All right. Well, that does explain that. I was curious as to how that came about. Now, tactician in the works. What does that mean?
That's what Oscar is working on currently because, as I said, he's a very jack of all trades but a master of none. So right now he's studying tacticianing, see if that's his thing. So far it's turning out well, but who knows how long that'll last.
Okay. So, is his failing at these different uh, professions, is that something that you have done on purpose in the RP, or have you allowed that just to happen naturally through the RP?
Sometimes let them happen naturally. Other times I do it on purpose, just because it matches his character. Because Oscar's a, to say it, put it bluntly, Oscar's a failure at what he does. Because he never found his way of living. It's just because back in Gilneas, his parents never let him have pretty much a life. So he would just stay home all the time.
Okay. Well, wonderful. Wonderful. So, now he's a smart aleck. Uh, he tends to be, now is he just like to joke around a lot, or is he sarcastic then, I guess?
Yeah, Oscar is pretty comic relief, I'd have to say.
Oh, okay. So would you consider your RP then a little bit on the light side, as far, not light RP, but as on a more of a comedic side?
I try to be comedic, but there are times, of course, where I have to be serious because, of course, I have to develop Oscar as a character, and that requires him to be a little serious.
Well, sure.
But for the for the majority, I kind of just try to stay comedic, so it doesn't always have to be serious business.
Okay, well, excellent. And it's always fun to have somebody that can be serious when it's required, but it's a lot more fun that when things are, say you're like off duty or whatnot, when you can kind of let loose, as it were, and be the kind of the class clown in a way, and make it enjoyable for everybody to hang out. So wonderful. So folks, when we get back, we'll talk a little bit about the player behind the screen and see what we can learn about Oscar in real life. So we'll be right back with that. And we're back. So Oscar, what can you tell us about you, the player behind the screen?
Well, I am a high school student, and I like to write a lot. Hence, I do a lot of RPs, stuff like this. I do Dungeons and Dragons. I write a lot when I have the spare time, which I have a lot of spare time. Don't tell anyone though.
Okay.
For the for the most part, I'm a very antisocial person in real life. I don't have a lot of friends because when I meet new people, I get really nervous. I have anxiety issues, low self-esteem issues, low self-confidence, stuff like that. So when I meet new people, I get cold sweats, nervousness, shakiness, and emotional breakdowns and stuff like that.
All right. So do you find that you're able to meet people easier in a game like World of Warcraft and RP with people that way?
It's actually way easier in World of Warcraft because I'm just talking to a bunch of pixels, so it's really nothing too scary.
Oh, okay. Well, excellent. So, what other hobbies? Do you have any other hobbies that you like to do? You like to write? Do you read any books?
I am actually not that big of a reader.
Oh, okay.
I don't find reading books way too entertaining. I do like sports though. I play tennis, I like to swim. Soccer is also pretty fun, volleyball too. So I'm pretty athletic.
Oh, well, excellent. the reason why I always ask the question about the player is because we try to break that stereotype of what people think a person that role plays is. And again, you're a young person who likes outdoor sports and enjoys writing, and so it breaks that mold of the RPer being just some big heavy-set guy living in his mom and dad's basement eating Cheetos. So it's always interesting to me to find out who the people are behind their character, just as much because I think that plays a lot into how they RP, and it plays into a lot on, again, it breaks those stereotypes of what people think that a role player is. So wonderful. So folks, when we come back, we'll talk a little more about Oscar's RP. All right, and we're back. So let us talk a little bit about something that it was on my mind, was not too long ago. Unfortunately, you were in the White Sigil Guild, and folks will remember seeing you there on that episode that we did not too long ago with the guild interview that we did with the wonderful White Sigil Guild. And unfortunately, one of their rules for their guild is there's an age limit of 18 years of age or older. And because you're 16, they weren't allowed, they couldn't keep you in. And all of them love Oscar to death, but unfortunately because of the guild rule, they had to let you go. Now, do you find that because of your age, people are less likely to take your RP seriously? Just because you're, 16?
Yes, it's very problematic because it's really, because I can handle that point of maturity where I'm 16. I'm almost turning 17. My birthday is actually on September 26th, is when you are interviewing the Nightfall Vanguard, so I'll be 17. So I've hit that point of maturity where I can handle things like war, blood, sexual relationships, stuff like that, more mature content, because it honestly doesn't bother me. Because I hit that point of maturity where it just doesn't bother me.
Sure.
So I think it's pretty problematic when I tell people my actual age and they don't really take it seriously.
Right. Now,
Just because of my age, apparently I am unskilled.
well, unfortunately, and again, you'll find that there are a lot of people that tend, and for some, it seems to be that they, for some reason, they think as soon as they turn 18, they're going to be automatically mature enough to handle different situations. Where, as a lot of people say, it's not the age that should dictate, a person's maturity, but the person themselves. And and I think people having met and talked with you can see that you are actually a lot more mature than, say, your typical 16, almost 17-year-old. Would you agree?
Oh yes, I definitely agree with your point. It's the content of your character that matters, not what you actually look like. Because it's honestly, I've seen people who are like 20, 30, and they can't even spell right. So it really bothers me when people say I'm unskilled just because of my age, when I see people older than me, way older than me, that can't even spell their names right.
Well, excellent. Yeah, and I think that's very true. And I think that's an interesting topic that we could talk on for quite a while. So, but what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll have some final thoughts with Oscar. So we'll be right back, folks. All right. Well, we have one final question for Oscar. Oscar, what advice would you give to new RPers coming into WoW?
My first and foremost advice is do not be afraid of interaction. I mean, myself, I'm still scared to death to interacting with new characters, mainly because I get anxious and I feel like they'll reject me if I do the wrong actions. But do not fear rejection. The worst that can happen is that they put you on their ignore list, which is boo-hoo, one person. There's like several thousands other on the server, so one person is seriously not going to be, shouldn't be very upsetting. So, is if you say someone who says enjoys walk up, just give them a walk up. It's seriously nothing wrong about it. My second advice is to establish a backstory. If you have a backstory in mind, establish it and give it to your character and have a way of your character to express it. It makes it easier for other characters to interact with yours, and it makes your character easier to interact with other characters who share the similar backstory. For example, Oscar is a runaway from home who loves nature, and green roses have been a part of him because he and his sister made a promise to never fight with each other because in a field of green roses, so that's something I did. So when he sees other characters with like sibling issues and running away from home issues, it makes them easier to interact with them because he can relate to it.
Oh, okay.
And third of all, mm, I, I I would say is that establish a personality because I mean, of course, if your character is still in development, then that's something you could skip and establish it during roleplay. But again, if you establish a personality, it makes other characters interact with you easier because they can relate to you, or they can't relate to you, which can be fun sometimes actually. So that's what I have to say to new role players.
Well, excellent advice, sir. That is wonderful. Yes, and what Oscar means by walk-ups, someone says on their MRP, walk-ups welcome, what that means is they're welcome, they are open to people that they do not know to come up and say hello with their character and to interact with them and to RP with them. So again, if their tag says walk up welcome, that means walk up and say hi and start RPing and give it a shot. You never know. That person that you walk up to may become a friend for life. So excellent. Well, thank you so much today, Oscar, for sitting down with Turwinkle and answering all his pesky questions. It's been wonderful getting to know who Oscar is and getting to know a little bit about you as well.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you for having me. It was an honor. I didn't really expect this to happen, but it happened, and I had a lot of fun with it. I feel like I gave some nice advice for new role players, and all in all, it was just a nice experience. And I'm glad that you were able to sacrifice your precious time for this.
Well, you know, all Turwinkle does is eat cookies and bother George. So this was really, but no, I really enjoyed our talk today. And so, folks, what we'll do is we'll see Turwinkle back in the hinterlands with his closing thoughts about Oscar. So thank you, Oscar, and we'll see you folks. All righty, folks. Well, what a wonderful interview. And we had a great time with Oscar, didn't we, Turwinkle?
Indubitably.
You bet. And so, folks, if you liked that interview with Oscar, hit that like button. If you'd like to comment on either Oscar's RP, on anything that we talked about, or any previous episode, do so below. And finally, if you'd like to join Team Turwinkle, we'd love to have you, so hit that subscribe button. Well, Turwinkle, it was a fun night. Your questions, as always, sir, were right on point. And, sir, I guess we will see you next time.
It's been fun.
It really has been. Bye-bye.